So, hey, how's it going, everybody? Happy Sunday. Let me turn down this music a little bit. There we go. That should be good. So, I've been looking at the endlessonline.com, and I'm looking at the deep patch, and it's interesting. Let me go ahead and do this. Okay. This is what I'm looking at. This is a lot. If anybody wants to hop in and chat with me about this stuff, I'd be happy to talk about it.
Hello.
Hey.
Starting up my computer, so I can't see what you're looking at just yet.
Ah.
You're looking at the updates, the patch?
Yes.
Alright. Are you gonna read them off, or just
I
hop in?
figured I have some people hop in and we go over it together.
Okay.
I think it's interesting. I like that there's a WASD key now. Happy Sunday. Are you there, Wish? Oh no, I think I lost her. Sorry, I'm just kind of like reading over stuff. If anybody wants to talk about this, feel free to either chat or join me on Discord. I think it's interesting. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I think it's because Discord started on my computer. Okay, I'm gonna download the patch.
Oh, you haven't downloaded it yet?
Nope. Wait, what does this mean? New users? EO clone users? What's the...
Honestly, okay, I will be honest. I was downloading this today, okay? So I went here and I tried both of these and none of them worked for me. However, when I went to EOServe, to the clone website, I downloaded that and it worked with this integrated.
Oh.
It's interesting.
So, should I not download it from Endless Online website?
I don't know.
I think...
Maybe it's just my computer.
My guess is that the EO Clone Users tab is for updating it, but the other one is for downloading a fresh client?
My theory is this doesn't work because I didn't have the latest version of EO Clone, and so I'm thinking this works with the latest version. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, because one's called EO Plus, and the other one's called Endless.
Endless. It's just endless.
Yeah. Essentially. Oh, okay. I think I get it. I think these... We're just trying to figure out what the heck's going on. I think these are for replacing in the Endless Online file if you already have it. is my guess. And the other one is a new install?
I think so. I don't know.
Because the things in this file are the config, the EIRC, endless client, and then ESCR, which are all in the default file. I think.
Anyways, you were talking to me about this earlier about all these updates and stuff.
Yeah, Zeth was there too.
Yeah, I was wondering if you wanted to talk about it on today's stream.
Yeah.
Since you know about it more than me. Oh wait, hold on. There's someone called Endless Online Plus. Hey, good morning. Good morning to you.
Wait, they're called Endless Online Plus?
Let's see here. Enrix EO Plus is a separate game. Oh, okay.
Ah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, good morning. Good morning, Enrix. Good morning, Endless Online Plus.
Alright, I'm gonna see if this worked.
So you need to download the new client regardless of those econfig changes are in the new econfig. Comes with the auto. Okay, I see. Okay. Good advice.
Whatever I did, it has changed my storage.
Yeah.
Now my storage displays the way that it's supposed to in the update.
Yeah. Mine does too. But I wanted to talk about some of this because you said you knew about some of these updates, and I figured if you wanted to share them.
A little bit, yeah. There's the do you have the link to the change log, or did you want it?
I'm looking at it right now. I think, is this the change log? I don't know.
Okay, let me switch to my computer. I'm on Discord through my phone, so I'll be right back.
How's everybody doing this morning? While we wait for Wish.
Alrighty, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I have the changelog up. Yeah, the other day, Bling, she was streaming and she was going over some of the updates that Sausage was doing, who is live streaming now and showing his progress on it. And she mentioned like a pedometer. She mentioned like something that deals with how people are jailed as a result of botting, I believe. Because there was issues with that. But all these things on the changelog, I didn't know about until after looking at it, and they seem really interesting, especially like the ease of access to the bank. It's like instead of one row of items, you open it up, it's like 4 separate rows of items all the way down.
Hendrik says doing good. Good to hear, buddy. Yeah, I'm looking at these and it's interesting.
I'm trying to figure out how to use WASD because I tried to do it.
So here's how it works. You have to enable it, and you can use it, and then when you type, it's inactive.
You have to enable it in the config?
Yeah.
Oh.
And also, let's see. Endless Online Plus says there are EOServe updates. These updates were not made by Sausage. Where's the EOServe update? Is it on EOServe? Just.
I'm looking at the changelog for the deep patch from the Endless Online website. I'm not sure about what's up with the EOServe updates. Which one? But you have the deep patch, don't you? Did you? Because you said that it has the WASD option and then the bank difference.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Oh. Ooh, I found the WASD key option.
Yeah, it's cool. Enrix, you should hop in voice and talk about these updates. Get in here.
Admittedly, I haven't had hands-on experience with it. I just, you know, saw the changelog and heard through Bling. It is considered an optional client update, so it's not like new items and mechanics. It's
deep patches, Vult-r sausage stuff, gel, etc. Is EO service not really official EO stuff? Okay. Gotcha. Oh god, why'd I do that?
yes, I'm using WAS now. I love that.
I like it. I like
Oh,
using
and
WAS.
ooh, and then when you have that enabled, you can also use the arrow keys. I have noticed one minor issue with this, though. It seems you lose your ability to type using WAS at all. So you can type using any other letter, but you no longer have access. You no longer can use WAS.
It's not a big deal for me.
You're like, I don't type anyways.
It don't bother me much. I can actually move in 2 different ways.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, how are you?
Doing well.
So I guess just to sort of like bring you up to speed with everything so that it like makes sense. Everything that you're seeing with the deep client is those are official changes that were made by Vult-r to the client. And then so you know there's a difference in server side, client side, and the stuff that you're seeing on the client side. Those are just changes that Vult-r made to the actual client. And so
Right.
EO serve itself, you know, that runs separately from the client, but the client talks to EO serve. And so
Right.
those interactions are what was changed to allow for like new features. The stuff that's been changed on the EO serve side by Sausage, like the jail time stuff, and how that functions, some minor bug stuff that he fixed. Those are just, you know, 2 separate, I don't want to say entities, but they're not related. Like, so you can use the deep patch on several different Endless Online projects. So like Endless Online Plus is obviously using the deep patch. There's several servers that are using it. I think Trippy's EO is using it. Bones Underground would not be using it because Bones Underground has some hex edit stuff that would not allow that patch to work. So for example, in the original, I guess, client side stuff, there's only the 2 bows, or yeah, 2 bows, and then you have the 2 sets of wings and whatnot. And they've actually hex edited their client to be able to have more. And so if you run the deep patch on Bones Underground, it puts your wings and your bows on your feet. So you can't use it there. Unless Volt eventually makes changes to it that would make it compatible with Bones Underground. But when I talked to Cirrus, at this time it's not really, like, you could use it, but it would break all functionality, I think.
Okay. Seems something that's new to the config is you can actually individually change the background and sound effects percentage, like the volume percentage, which is nice. So if you ever have blaring music or sound effects, you can actually turn those down individually.
EO Online Plus says, so you can use WASD. Yeah. I'm using it right now.
It's nice.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, going from there's chat balloon colors. Oh, you can customize what color you want the chat balloons to pop up as.
It's interesting.
Something else that I found really cool about the and you guys could probably test it if you wanted to, but the sound now has a distance modifier. So like if you slash and you're right on top of somebody, it will be loud, and as you get farther and farther away, it decreases in sound level.
Oh, that's nice.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think like before it was just a 1 or a 0. It was there or it was not. So like even if someone was on the edge of your screen, they were super loud.
Ooh, I need to test this out. There's an option for playing the game in full screen. Every time I did this, it doesn't quite work. So I want to see what happens now.
You disappeared.
Yeah, I had to log out so because I saved the settings.
Oh.
Well,
There you are.
I guess it's full screen. It's a very interesting way for it to be full screen. Yeah, I didn't disappear forever. It's all right. When I minimize it, it's extremely long, but still the same but the height shrinks. So it's very interesting.
Man, I'm seeing some interesting conversations out here.
He steals pixels. Ugh. Oh, I know. Okay, I know what they're talking about. They're spilling the tea over there.
Who are they
Scale.
talking about?
Oh, I forget the person's name. But I generally know what they're talking about.
I don't know what's going on here.
Oh, but they're
There's-
quite active, aren't they?
There's a very active conversation going on right now in front of us.
Oh, I'm starting to see it now. Like on the stream.
I don't
Well-
know what to make of it. I think I'm gonna walk away.
That sounds like a good idea.
I walk away.
But yeah, there'd be this issue when it would full screen where it would display strange and so it would become whiteout. Like it would be all white and it wouldn't let you full screen it. Admittedly, the full screen option.
It's not really full screen. It just makes a full screen window. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Who,
So it's pseudo.
who was standing in front of you guys in admin robes? Was that Plasma Star or who was that?
No, that guy. His name. I've never seen him before. His name is Arglon.
Oh. Okay.
I gotta pick something up from downstairs. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm just gonna run away. What are we gonna do today, guys?
Argalon is
Oh my
Endless
god, you
Online
can
Plus.
left click attack. I'm sorry, what?
Argalon is Endless Online Plus.
Oh, okay. I can actually left click attack. So, what does this all mean? Whoa, hold on. Oh, that was me. Gotcha. What's... I gotta think this through. Okay. I want to do opposing. Have a talk while killing opposing. That's
okay,
cool.
I'm back.
Wish, did you know you can left click and attack?
Really? Let me see.
You have to do it right in
Oh.
front of a monster.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why it wasn't working.
It's amazing.
It's still not working. What'd I do wrong? Oh.
You see what I'm talking about? Did it work?
Yeah, you want to know what the problem was?
What?
I mixed up left and right.
You silly.
Listen, it happens, all right? It happens sometimes with me.
I need to know where a bank is now.
You know where a bank is, though.
I know, but I don't want to go all the way back to Avon. I guess I have to.
Is there a bank in Centaur?
I don't think there is.
It's one of those towns that I've probably explored all the buildings in, but don't remember.
I don't ever explore them.
I know Estac has one. Estac is my hometown. I am highly in favor of Estac.
It's so weird seeing my bank like this now.
I know, right?
You guys also pay attention to the tooltips now when you mouse over stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think the color relates to rarity, because my hero plate is showing up as yellow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that it tells you how much, like, defense, agility. Basically, it tells you all the stats you get from it.
Yeah, I think it's still missing a couple things. I don't know if it's going to be a limitation of the tooltip size, but this is sort of the first iteration, so I'm sure it will get better in the future.
Yeah.
Like I think maybe hit points and maybe a few other things are missing, but it gives you a general idea of what you're putting on. I mean the important stuff like damage and stuff.
Yeah. So, from what I understand, you said that Arvid, he made, like, these client changes, which are
Vult-r.
quality of life. Oh, sorry, I mixed
Sorry.
it up. Vult-r making the quality of life changes to the client. Wasn't he the one who changed the hex so that you can allow for more than 899 items on the servers now?
That was sausage, and the way that
Okay.
actually panned out is, and it was sort of, I don't want to say it was news to me, but it really wasn't. I just misunderstood what somebody told me. When they first figured it out, it was like revolutionary, but shortly thereafter they determined that the patch was not actually useful. So I think they're still trying to work their way through that with EOServe, but I think it has a little bit to do with just how Sausage set up the pub files and organized everything in EOServe and how it functions. But that's not to say that someday maybe Volt will make some sort of hard change using the actual source code, but that would require quite a bit of work on his end if he ever did it. So, but they could always, I guess, fix it on the EOServe side of it, but I don't know when or how they're going to go about doing it. Most likely you'll see that change whenever somebody finishes a custom client, or if Alt makes those changes himself.
So then the 899 item cap isn't actually removed then?
From my understanding, theoretically it was, but it wasn't. So
but actually no.
Yeah, so it seemed like it was, but I think once you get to messing with it more, you realize that there's actually a problem with, I think, the protocol that would not allow it to actually do what you want it to. You'd have to get some further clarification from someone like Cirrus, but that's my understanding.
All right. Well, at minimum, I'm glad to know that that Sausage is also working on his own updates alongside Volt. It makes me hopeful for what's going to be happening in Endless Online Clone. Definitely came as a surprise, and the update to the website.
I think, I mean, a lot of it, it just got everybody motivated again. A lot of it's been just very stagnant and nobody's been doing anything. So when people saw, website updates and there's the patch and everything, I think it's just got a couple people working a bit more, um, hard on their projects or whatever.
Yeah. By the way, Sid, congratulations on getting a link on the Endless Online website.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
interesting.
I think it's a well-earned spot, well-deserved.
I'm happy to see the EO broadcast. He deserves that more.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. There's a lot of people on here that I'm glad they're there. Like also the Bones Underground.
I want to see
Like-
Blinkwing on there too.
Yeah, me too. I'm biased though because she's my sister. She's been around forever though. When it comes
Yeah,
to endless
she
online
has.
content. Yes, but I would say it's well deserved and well earned by everybody on there.
Well, I want to fight opposing.
Why?
I just do.
We can suit up and go do that if you want.
I want to fight him.
Which one? New Apo or old Apo?
Old, good old oldie.
Good old oldie?
Yeah.
We could go do that if you want. I don't know how to get there.
I don't either.
You do too! I watched you do it.
Okay. We'll do it.
Did you want to try
Let's see
and
here
gather a
from
group?
Endless Online Plus. She posts a lot of non-EO content on her channel, so not sure if that will happen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's not technically a dedicated Endless Online channel exclusively. She's variety content. But she did do Endless Online for the most part for a while. Like, it was her animations and stuff. But now, yeah, she's more variety and is opened up.
It's so weird I can do a WSD movement.
Yeah, I see it.
Freaks me out.
So that's quite similar looking to me.
Alright,
If I didn't.
I'm going.
Okay.
There's no better option than to go.
Are you gonna suit up?
I'm gonna left click this. Ugh,
Okay.
that felt good.
Yeah, it felt good to murder that defenseless crow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With the left click.
Hmm?
With the left click.
Oh, okay. Alright. Well. Do you have your hero or your Auron or anything, or are you just going in your text?
No, I have it.
Oh, okay. I don't.
You probably need to go get it.
Okay. I'll warp back to the
I will wait right here
Okay.
by the pigs.
If you move at all from that spot. Oh no. I'll know mostly because your stream is pulled up. I can stalk you as much as I want.
Stream sniper.
Hey. Okay.
I don't know, I just feel like old Epo.
You know, we haven't gotten the chance to do new Apo yet.
Yeah, but I don't like getting to him.
Why?
It's too much.
Okay. Oh, thankfully, I guess I'm still an archer or something. I put
So what
my
are you
bow
doing
on.
right now, Enrix?
I'm playing Endless Online Plus.
Oh.
What is that one about? You said
So-
it's separate.
So that is made by Argalon, and it's
Oh.
it's something he worked on. I think it was released in 2016. They worked on it for about 2 years before they released it. and it has, I mean, honestly, the way it's made, so in EO, I think there's probably like 30 quests in EO, 40 quests. And then so you've got the quest in BU, which are they're a bit longer, I guess, you know, multi step, and they take a long time. EO Plus has, so EO Plus has level restrictions, but every zone is sort of designed to get you to the next zone, if you will.
Yeah.
And there are, I don't know, probably like 300, 400 quests.
Ooh.
But it's like, it's more like your typical MMO, I would say, where, you know, it'll say, go kill this many of this, go collect this many of this. There's daily quest, weekly quest. There's just a whole, it's kind of a new approach on how you progress. Like, you don't just go kill monsters for 45, 60k an hour. Like, you have quests that you can do, you can log in and do each day, each week. And so far, and like every item, so it uses the default item base for EO, and it also uses some assets that Argalon has had commissioned over time. And every single item has relevance, so like even on Noob Island you craft gear that is relevant, and each zone you move to there's different things that drop various items or materials to craft stuff. Like there's so when you get level 18 and you go east of Avon, there's like a 4 or 5 item craft chain for a weapon and a shield, and you're constantly upgrading your gear and changing into new gear, so everything's relevant and it progresses. It's a bit of a different take. I mean, it's kind of like BU in terms of armor and weapon progression, but it's like it's scaled back in terms of just how large some of the numbers are and stuff. It's more traditional, I guess, in that sense.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like something I might check out.
Yeah, it's really, I'm enjoying it. Me and Karn have been playing it a little bit.
Ooh, so does it have all the original items from Endless Online in it?
Yep.
Nice.
And it's got quite a few more. Like, it's got a lot of Stava's pre-release assets, and then some stuff that, like I said, Argalon is paid for.
Yeah, it sounds like it's worth checking out.
Hey there, Skeg. How's it going?
We're going to Epo. We're gonna murder him, probably.
He's
Maybe.
gonna murder us. I just
You
feel
trying
like
to tell me and you can't solo him?
I don't know. Think you could do this?
No, because I just realized something.
What?
I mean, I'm not gonna go back, but I didn't bring any else.
Oh my god.
Listen, right? I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry.
Go and get health pots.
Okay. Okay.
Go get health pots.
Okay. Listen, I would have been fine. What's the closest warp to where you're at, by the way?
The beach, I think.
Beach warp?
Yeah, there's a little, I don't know. There's like a little underground tunnel that leads here, I think. I'm not sure. I might be wrong.
Wait, is S-Tac close to that?
I don't know.
Because I might be able to warp there. I just want to not make you wait forever.
Just get potions.
Okay. The way you looked at me.
Let's see here. This donations in EO Plus are so FU P2W. Hope items for real cash and they're online. That's a joke. Stronghold will be fastest, says Skeg.
Okay, you're saying there's not many people play it and that it's basically pay to win.
What is?
I think he's talking about Endless Online Plus.
So he is. The only thing, and I mean, like I said, I've been playing it for the last couple days. The only thing that you can get, there is a charm that is. I mean, it's like, so they have this like supporter card silver, supporter card gold, supporter card elite.
Yeah.
The highest. Okay, so if you want to look at it in terms of pay to win, when you look at BU, you can literally buy your way all the way to max stats, and you can get about anywhere you want to with money. But in terms of EO Plus, there are a couple donation options. The biggest one is the supporter card elite, which gives you 300 hit points, 400 TP, 25 to 25 damage, 20 accuracy, 20 evade, 20 defense, and then 10 to all your stats. I can tell you as someone that's level 25 that that's not even a fourth of my stats at level 25. So how it's pay to win is sort of beyond me. So how it's any more pay to win than something like Bones Underground is beyond me, I guess. But everybody's welcome to their own opinion, I guess.
Yeah. It's interesting to get different perspectives on it. How long did it take you to get to level 25?
I would say it's at least taken me, gosh, maybe like 30 hours, 40 hours.
Okay, that's not too bad.
But it has, since then it's slowed down a lot. Like I would say the first 16 levels or so were pretty quick, but then after that, I mean, it's a grind. Definitely a grind.
No factory quest.
In Endless Online Plus, or
yeah, I've been hearing that it's a quick way to level up in normal Endless Online.
So I have not been to factory yet. Some of it's it's organized a little differently. I think it's in here, but I think it's maybe at a different point. But like I said, Endless Online Plus has probably like 300 plus quests, and it has daily quests and Slayer quests and weekly quests. So like, it also has repeatable quests, obviously. But the best way that I've seen to like progress is to do your dailies, because they give larger chunks of experience. So like, I guess it's sort of gated in that way, but you can still obviously progress any way you want to.
Okay. Yeah, I still think it's worth checking it out. It sounds interesting.
I haven't played it, so I can't really give an opinion, but I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. We don't go down here.
Yeah, you don't go down there.
Thanks for telling me after I came to that conclusion.
You're welcome.
And I think another thing, like Argalon is mentioning, the donations. What donations do exist are essentially useless after level 60, and level 60. So essentially, think of EO Plus as having brand new content every 10 levels. So at level 60, any pay to win stuff is sort of kind of like BU. You can buy up to Bow Staff and Master of Souls,
Right.
I guess. And I would say maybe EO. No, it's about the same. So think about the same progression. You can sort of buy benefits up to that point, but after that, it's kind of like Shrapnel and Crestfall and everything in BU. You're on your own pretty much.
Okay. I'm not really inherently against server owners setting things up in a way that, they can get donations and give advantages to players, simply because it's so niche in a way. Oh no! Oh no!
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Are you gonna be okay?
No,
no.
I died.
Okay, where do I go?
Oh, there's a message right here for me. I got a love letter. What does this mean?
Well, then do I go to the right?
I got the love letter. I'll be there shortly.
Okay, but you understand that I'm being chased down by a ton of demons.
Yeah,
and
it's
on
okay if
souls,
you
right?
want. It's okay if you want to die.
I mean, you could just tell me if I need to go right or straight down.
No, I won't tell you.
Why?
You gotta figure it out.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna try and figure it out then.
That's how I did it.
You know,
I
I
honestly,
mean,
okay, look, I honestly could not tell you without watching. So,
oh, okay. So you're not just trying to torment me.
no.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm being for cereal.
Of a cereal? Okay. I have found out that you don't go down. That's not the way to go. Now there's some twin demons on my butt.
I don't really know how to approve people, but Arglon did join the channel. I'm not sure if he wants to speak, but he is in the audience. If you want to.
Oh. Wish, you wanna invite him?
Oh yeah, you know, be chased down by everything. I can definitely have time to do that.
Alright, hold on, I'll invite him.
Right click. Oh no! I tried to do it anyways and died.
Let's see here from Shrimp. Telling her where to go would make it easier for her. I can't tell her.
Yeah, that'd be too straightforward. It'd
Hey,
be too
Argon.
straightforward while ironically not actually being straightforward because lots of turns to make.
Oh.
I died, so I'll be heading down.
You died? Where do you spawn at?
S-Tech.
Oh.
Which I don't think is that far from Hedgehogs.
Who is that?
But
Hey
I also
guys,
don't
how's it
remember.
going?
Hey
Hello.
there.
Hello. I'm enjoying
What up?
watching your EO content.
Oh, thank you.
It's very nice.
Yeah, we saw you down there in the town square talking with the people.
Yeah, I'm not on Clone much anymore. I think I was banned for like 7 years.
Excuse me? You got banned
Yeah.
for 7 years?
Something like that.
What'd you do?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, usually I go to prison for nothing, but
Public enemy number one.
did you want to tell us about what you're working on and stuff?
It doesn't matter. I mean, EO Plus has been out for, I think, 6 years coming up. In like a couple weeks will be our anniversary. So it's been out quite a long time.
Ooh, nice! Happy pre-anniversary then.
Do you plan to have like any sort of like special events for like your?
Yeah, we do. We usually do like a yearly anniversary event, but I think I'm going to switch up like some of the way the early rewards are. To do it a little different. Like I might get rid of the lottery and all that kind of stuff that we have, and just do more regular events.
Gotcha.
I was very hesitant the first couple of years on my game to like make any changes that people wanted. It was kind of like my ideas are the highway, but I think as we go on here, it'd be better to listen to what some people want. You know.
Yeah, I think it's very good to get other people's opinions, and you do want to be hesitant with how you implement them. Just talking with people when you're doing things that just alter the flow of the game and the progression of the game.
Exactly right. Like I worked for like 2 years on like the problem with a lot of servers now is they're so easy to put one up, so people will just like copy and paste, let's say, clones pub files, host a server, and then they just start making changes right away, right? But like for my game, 2 years it took, because I would do an area, then I would make a new character and then play up to that area, then I'd make another new area, and I would start again, constantly making sure that like every area flowed from one to one to one. So if I start making changes in certain areas, it could mess that up, right?
That's been one of the things since I've been playing. It does have a natural flow to it, and it is sort of, to me, it's reminiscent of other MMO games that I've played, as far as some of the quests in BU are a bit grand in scale, but it leaves you at times feeling like you have nothing, I guess, else to do other than to kill monster X, Y, and Z. But when you've got some fetch quest or go here and do this, like, I feel like EO Plus does a good job of filling the gap, like just keeping you sort of moving along a progressive, I don't want to say like, I think of it kind of like a 2D scroller. You're just kind of moving along and progressing.
Yeah.
So I think it does a good job of that. And I think one of the big things, in your server, you've elected to keep it as similar to EO as possible, while also accounting for some of the things. You've probably seen the video of Siin talking about so much of the equipment was useless, and how I think actually I jumped in with him during a stream one time, but I wasn't in that video. But we were just talking about how to repurpose things and make them useful. And like right now I'm using Draco and a Gabastro, and like I've just been switching all my gear as I go. So I think it's been really good in that regard.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it definitely EO Plus is something I really want to check out.
Yeah, I mean, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, it just walked past me and then disappeared.
It's just it's kind of difficult to compete with like BU and Clone, because BU, they like they're a great server, but they've been around so long, right? They have such a long established player base, and a majority of the people that are going to stick around are the people that have played EO for the last like 15 years, right? It's hard for people to start a new server, and they offer a lot of content that keeps people online, whether it's like events all the time, or like if you just stay online you get items, right? So and then Clone, most people still view it as like the main EO, even though it is a private server. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of confusing when people like give me that argument, but whatever.
Yeah,
I think
technically Endless Online as we know it is non-existent.
Just look
or
at
as
it this
we
way,
used to do it.
we wouldn't have got any Vult-r updates if it wasn't for EO Plus, essentially. So
Yeah.
that's good, I guess.
I think one of the big things for me, so what draws me to play BU is the fact that there is a lot of cool stuff there to do. There's the events, and I think the events, the event engine and everything like that is like BU is a great server, and there's a lot of great stuff on there and things to do. But without event engine, I think BU would have a really hard time. I think it would still be most likely the most populated server. But generally speaking, most people play BU to play capture the flag and to play, freeze tag and to like all these various game modes where you can interact with players. And I think that is the biggest selling point of BU compared to other servers. Obviously there's, Cirrus has a very high expectation when it comes to the pixel art and the thing he allows into the game, and there's still some busted assets and things that look bad, but they're slowly phasing out. Because I've pixeled a couple things, and I don't currently have anything in BU, but I just know working with Cirrus sort of what his expectation is, and I think he is moving the game in the right direction. But for me, I think the biggest selling point is the event engine. Like, I could log on to BU and just play capture the flag and be pretty content. that's not everybody. Not everybody enjoys Capture the Flag. Some people like other events, but that's certainly one of the biggest selling points from my experience.
Yeah, it definitely makes Bones Underground really unique. I have a lot of hope for Bones Underground future, and I'm really looking forward to what they're gonna do this year.
Yeah, I think they do a good job. I do think everybody does, like BU at this point has become, they've tried to eliminate almost anything that is reminiscent of EO. Like, I mean, you still have the framework that is EO, the combat system, the 2.5D isometric, just how everything's set up. But if you never played EO before and you play BU, there's really nothing. I mean, I'm trying to think of what BU even still uses of EO. It's not much.
Yeah, there's a few rogue assets, but most of it's been phased out. Uh-oh, I lost Sin.
Just keep going right.
I see you. Uh-oh.
I think one of the biggest things in my experience playing servers, if you want to get players to play your server, the two biggest things are the new player experience and then continuous community involvement and interaction. So like if you can captivate somebody for those first couple of hours, you probably have someone that's going to at least invest, a period of time into your game. And if you can get those people to interact with each other, form a guild, play events, do whatever, well, then you've got a recurring player. So I think that's, the two biggest things: new player experience and getting people to interact. BU's new player experience is probably the worst of almost any server I've played, but their community interaction, the event engine, and there's just some really good people on there that when they see somebody pop into the server, they go help them. The guild leader of Den, the guild that we're all in on BU, him and another one of our leaders are really proactive in going and meeting new players when they pop up, and helping them out. And I think the achievement system sort of helps with that. So when a new player pops up, they kill a monster for the first time, you see first blood. Well, if you go on BU and you get first blood, not only is everybody saying grats in global chat, but somebody is liable to come see who you are and what you're doing and if you need help. And I think that just sort of helps retain players too, because right from the start, you've got some kind of interaction with somebody, and having that connection sort of encourages you to stick around.
Yeah, and sometimes the admins come and greet the new players too.
I don't know. I have mixed feelings about some stuff that they do, but
I think there's definitely a lot to clean up on that game.
So like one of the big things is like every server goes through slow periods, right?
Yeah.
One of the problems is like a new server will pop up, a lot of people will go there, and then they'll close down in 6 months, and then it spreads people out. So there was a lot of times where like someone will join my server and they go, "Oh my god, it's such a great game," or whatever, but there's nobody here. I'd play if there was people here, and then they would quit. And then the next week, some different person would come and say the same thing. And I keep telling all these people, like, if you would just stay on for like a week or two, it would slowly build, right? And BU went through a similar thing where it was literally just like 5 alts on at one time, for a while, like a couple years ago. And then Cirrus eventually added in the reward for time spent, right? And then that blew up to like people having so many alts on, right?
Yeah.
Alts or not, if people see like 50 people on your server, they're going to play, right? So that's one thing I've been really hesitant to try and push on my server. Just to, I don't know.
No, I get it.
What?
I think it's kind of an issue that a lot of the players are just AFK because the system incentivizes that.
But like new players don't know that, right? They join, they see all these people. If 2 people help them, they just think that everyone's active, and then you walk into like trial area or like the main village or whatever, and you just see 40 people standing there, and you're like, oh.
Yeah,
One thing that I will say, and I'm not really sure, it's my opinion, and my opinion's probably, I don't want to say it's the minority, but I do think it's a justified opinion. In BU, when you pop up as a brand new player, a lot of times people will, they'll come to you and they'll help you out, and they'll give you something, they'll give you an iron axe. And an iron axe is ridiculously strong. It's, a 1x1 weapon, it's not an AoE weapon or anything like that, but it does 18,000 to 25,000 damage. And that is better than like half of the crafting chain. And when I think of something like EO Plus, and since I've been playing it, and when my friend Karn got online, I gave her some gear to start out with, and I had better stuff to give her. Like I could have gave her a better weapon, I could have gave her a better set of armor, but I gave her stuff that I thought was, pretty close, but it would still help her out. Because I felt like if I gave her the really strong stuff, it would take away from the experience of progression. Like if somebody just came up and handed me, on EO Plus, if someone came and gave me, and I don't even know how strong it is, but say someone gave me a twin blade, well then I've completely nullified the entire sense of progression that I have until that point. There's no sense of achievement. There's no, and people are going to say, well, I want to wear this because it's cosmetic and this, and I understand it from the cosmetic standpoint, but from the actual progression and just sort of the way that, especially EO Plus, the way it's set up, is if someone has something that is just way beyond the area that they are currently in, there's no point in me going out and collecting item X, Y, and Z to craft something. And I think that would, really hurt the quests and stuff in that area. So I know there's some items I'm like about to get into the swamp area, and I think that those items require level 33, which I think, you've got people in the camp of, I want to be able to wear everything as soon as I start. But if people could do that, I think that would be really bad. But EO is kind of a cosmetic, glorified chat room game. So I understand why people get sort of upset when you level lock stuff. But
so I don't think that's not the original goal of the game, but it's just the way it's evolved, right? With no updates in 15 years, I think that's just the way it kind of went towards.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like talking to Vult and stuff, that wasn't the plan of the game, but it's just the way it happened. So, like, the goal for my goal for EO Plus was a MMO experience from tutorial area to Anundo. Like, you play from there to there, from 0 to 60, and you get the best MMO experience possible playing through the original EO content. And then after 60, there's new maps and like new zones and new everything, right? Mm-hmm. So, and that goes from 60 to 140, so there's quite a lot. But as you said, like most of my donation items, they're just basically either for people who have already played EO and want to try the new stuff. It's not skipping because you can't buy levels, but you can do better damage to get there quicker. But like you're playing just fine and you're getting there quick.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, are you guys doing Apozin?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm actually one of the people that like the fact that the armors aren't level locked, even though I understand from a linear game perspective how that might be able to take away from the experience. But
I've removed a lot of the level locks, like up to like nothing really level locked. I'll have to go back and look if I missed stuff, but like most of the starting stuff up to level 60, it's not too bad. But like, I don't want people getting level 100 gear at level 0. You know what I mean? Like you can't do that in World of Warcraft. You can't do that in Elder Scroll. Like
it ultimately like makes sense what you're trying to do. I think EO done it a bit differently. The thing that people have to remember in EO, there was no grand scale. Most things, even your best equipment, it was not that much better than the worst equipment. So like
Yeah.
you could wear anything, but it was mostly because there was no, I mean, what was it? Like if you got a dagger, 0 to 1 damage. If you had a twin blade, it's like 2 to 12 or something. Like that's so small, and that's the entire spectrum. So like when you have things that are spreading out and you have things that are getting progressively stronger, when you design your game so that it is getting progressive, like, you know, if you could just say here, let's just say on an example on BU, let's say here you go, you know, Wishlock, you just started, here's your Crestfall blade, go and, you know, kill this stuff. That's like it's
This lore.
super trivial though, you know what I mean? Like if you could trade it.
Well, here's the
um,
thing: is that I just don't think it. Even if you took off all the level locks, as long as it takes a considerable amount of effort to get those equipments, I don't think most people are just going to be handing them out to new players.
I mean, I don't know. People do that all the time.
I will say though that just because I think it's not a good idea, and I'm just like doing some back and forth here. I like that Endless Online was never that kind of game. Like you said, that having the best armor in the game wasn't that big of a difference from not having a lot. That's really interesting to me. But I think it's not the best idea to take the approach that, well, every other game does it, so let's do it. I think that's not the best way to go about doing things. In fact, Endless Online is unique in the fact that there's so little difference in like weapons and armor. Especially when I first joined, levels literally did nothing for you, which is bragging rights. But because of that, it made the new player experience much more interesting because you didn't feel overshadowed by the high level players. There was like an interesting degree of equality as a result. And I'm not saying that's inherently better than a level locked system, but it definitely was a different experience as a result.
Like, so I've played like Endless Online since it came out, and I've been there when there was no levels and like no gear, and then you just had to message like DressBot to get gear, and then gear was dropped by spiders and eventually in the shops. But there's really no change to the game. Like, the game really hasn't changed at all in like 15 years, right? If you really look at it in terms of like world building and what maps exist and everything.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it kind
like,
of got abandoned-ish.
and like talking to Vault recently, like a lot of those like things that people like weren't intentionally the direction of the game. Like,
Yeah,
we
which
were
is really
talking,
fascinating.
he would like we were talking about like having big boss battles where like a big boss HP shows up and the boss could do cool things and like more interaction and stuff like that, and that stuff he really wished he would have implemented like way back then, but obviously things happen.
I
So,
think
I don't know.
I think a little bit of that are the things, you know, like if you look on BU, you have the Crestfall Barbarian, which, so the way that boss works is he is a large boss. He does have a big health pool, but when he spawns, 4 spirits spawn as well, and based on the number of those spirits that you kill, you know, his stats are multiplied. So you kill him and his stats go down to where you can actually kill him. You have the Lich, which like teleports all over the place. So like kind of along the lines of what you're talking about with grand boss battles. And I think, you know, me personally, I can't remember exactly what version I started playing EO in, but it was definitely when stats and items had relevance. Because I've always been somebody, I'm not really in the boat of cosmetic. I'm in the boat of being stronger than everybody else. So that's, you know, that's just the difference in the two sort of perspectives. I do think it's important. You know, you look at like World of Warcraft, for example. You know, I've played World of Warcraft since literally its inception, and I've played it, you know, with some of the best guilds in the United States. Like, at one point in time, like I was literally the best Holy Paladin in the United States, probably aside from like Blood Legion or something, whoever they had at that time. But I've always been interested in the strength of it. But anyway, so with World of Warcraft, you do have sort of that cosmetic, more casual sort of gearing for those kinds of players, and then you have the sort of optional, like you can go do this, you don't have to do this, but you can go do this if you want to. And I think being able to cater to both audiences is very important to be successful. And you can see like World of Warcraft has been hyper focusing on their competitive audience, and they have forgotten their casual player base, and it is literally destroying their game. But
Which is why we have the overlay system for people that want to look cool.
yeah, no, I think I've enjoyed that, because even as somebody that is, power creeping, like if I have that option available, like I'm kind of in the boat of like, if I have the best gear, I'm always going to wear the best gear, but I don't always want to show a helmet. I don't always want to show a shield, so I hide those things.
We kind of came and took over your chat, guys. I'm sorry, by the way.
No, you're good. You're good.
I don't want to start ranting about EO stuff.
That's all right. I would say that it's just as much as I would say to not have the thinking process that, oh, well, every other game does this, so we should do it too. It's probably not best to have the approach of saying, well, this is what made this game successful, so all games that hope to be successful should do this same thing. Because I think that stifles innovation, and indie games definitely have revolutionized a lot of areas, although not inherently in the MMO area, as a result of experimentation. But I definitely 100% get what you guys are talking about, and I think it's just as valid as an approach to imitate other games to try and, especially if finances are the goal.
Yeah, I think the big thing is just finding that balance and finding where you're comfortable, and like trying to sort of navigate, okay, this is how they did it, this is how they were successful, and this is how we're going to be slightly different. I mean, look at one of the most successful games out there. Not really related to EO or anything along those lines, but Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley takes inspiration from so many games, but it did it in a slightly different way and has just been massive. So
Yeah.
I think you can certainly, take inspiration and then just kind of put your own touch on it,
Yeah.
and make a good final product.
I don't know. I think the goal for my server would have always just I would never. I mean, my game was made I started 8 years ago, so I never really copied anybody. But like, just the best EO MMORPG experience you can get from like playing EO Plus.
I mean,
BU kind of had it crappy because they obviously their history. They went through a lot of different owner. A lot of people like DDoSing them throughout the years, you know what I mean? Like a lot of just bad things happening. So Cirrus kind of had to work through that to make it the game it is now. So obviously like some more changes to come with that, but I'm not really sure the goal for that game. I mean,
I think ultimately just, I haven't been talking to Cirrus as much lately as I have in the past, but I think he's got sort of the right mindset and what he wants to do. I do think so. The biggest thing with Cirrus and BU is that he is trying to update his house while also living in it. And at this point, his house has got so big and there's so many systems that are interconnected, that he just has to be really careful in how he modifies and changes things. Because, obviously, like I've met Ponty on your server, who is the #1 player. And he's like, yeah, after I do stuff, admin goes through and makes it a little bit easier, this and that. And, talking to people on BU, if you do things that makes them feel a certain way, they may get upset. But ultimately, like me, Siin, and I think Wish, we've had conversations of, if the change is ultimately good for the game, whether it makes something, if it diminishes my, my progress a little bit or whatever, it's for the better of the game. I know one of the big things on BU right now is there's eventually going to be a currency squish / modification to bring the system in line with what Cirrus wants it to be. But there are people that literally have billions and billions of useless currency, and that's what it is. It's literally useless. But if you tell them that after the squish they're not going to have those billions and billions of currency, they're going to be very upset. But it's also useless as it is. So do you want it to be useful and have a slightly, lessened version of what you currently have? Or do you want to keep a broken system and just say that you have billions of a useless currency?
Like Ponty is like a weird subject because like when he complains like, oh, like it was easier when I did it. When he did it was like 5 years ago, so it's not like I'm changing it immediately after he did it, you know.
Mhm.
And he complains like, oh, I finished the updates, when's the next one? Well, you're one of the only few people at that level. Do I cater to you and keep you going, or do I take some time to reevaluate and reestablish like the early levels, you know?
I think
Plus,
you know.
plus he's older, so he complains about everything, but I love him for it.
I think one of the big things, you know, I feel like if you feel that you're at a pretty good point with your end game content, like obviously you want to continue adding more, but I would think that focusing on getting players to that point, you know, so that you have more Ponties, you have more people that are there. That's ultimately the most important thing, because if you are innovating and you are spending money, you're buying new graphics, you're doing things, and there's nobody there at the end of the day to enjoy that content, you know, other than one or two people, you know, really what did you accomplish? So I think just making sure that you're doing everything you can to sort of get players to play, hang around, and then get to that to where they can say, hey, look, this is the new content, this is what came out, this is awesome. I think that's the important thing.
I mean, the game's long, but I mean, Ponty has 2 characters that he leveled that are almost the top level in the game. He has multiple alts that he starts to help new players. Like, I don't know. So there is new content coming, right? Like I have like the updates we're doing as part of like a 4-stage update, and we're currently going to stage 3. Stage 4 is going to be big. It's helped by the fact that I can now add more items to the game, not infinitely more, but enough to help. Because we were getting close to running into the problem that BU has, where they have to constantly delete old items, right? Like that's what they've had to do for the last like 8 years. So anyway, what are you guys doing right now? You're just chatting in Avon?
Yeah,
we're near
trying
Witch
to
House.
trying to figure out what to do.
See, exactly. Like you're sitting on a busy server with like 50 people, and you don't know what to do. That's inherently the problem with Clone. But people will sit on it because they either invested real life money on it, or they think it's like the main server. Like they're scared to give up whatever they bought or whatever they had, you know, to go try like a BU, to go try an EO Plus or whatever other server they want to do.
Yeah.
We could try to do factory quests, because I mean, I don't know if you want to, but Zath, remember he told us that the hero in the Elof helm.
I'm going to the
shield.
biters.
Okay. Can we bite them back?
No. Yeah.
Darn. You're giving me conflicting information here.
Did you see my biter repeatable quest yet, Enrix?
Enrix, are you alive?
Enrix.
No.
Enrix.
Enrix. Wait, Sin, you said you got a love letter?
Yeah, I died and saw a love letter. Made me happy.
Isn't it nice to have 3 ways to attack, though?
It is. It's interesting.
Wait, what's the third?
Spacebar?
Yeah, spacebar.
Ooh.
You have no... So, I tested the new client for like 10 hours a day for like 2 months. It was so long.
Oh my gosh.
Because, like, you'd have... Like, so we changed the sound, right? Like, so farther away something is, it sounds quieter, right?
Yeah?
Like, but you have to test doors, attacking, different weapons, different ways of making noise, spikes. Like, I made so many maps to test so many things. It was a nightmare.
So are you working on the main clone as well, or are you just...
No, I have nothing to do with, like, sausages stuff.
Okay, because you were wearing admin robes on here.
So when he unbanned me, he like wiped my account of all the stuff I had.
Yeah.
Which was obtained illegally. And then I guess he just gave me a lower armor so I have clothes.
Yeah.
And that's it.
he gave you admin robes?
I mean,
as
they
a
don't really
result?
do anything. They're lore and they have no stats, basically. And I don't really play on there that much, so he can take them away if he wants. It doesn't matter to me.
That's one. Is that one of the ones you got illegally, or did he give that?
No, he gave me those.
Because as a result, I thought you were an admin. I was like, oh, he's good.
I have no other clothes,
Your admin robes are the thing that keeps you from being
and
naked.
I'm not, and I don't want to drop any items or take any items from people. I just like my character's gonna stay the way it is. So
So,
most people don't
what
even know
led
who I
to
am.
you wanting to come back?
to what? Like
I
clone?
wish.
No, do not abandon me. To clone.
He just unbanned me. He wanted to talk to me about, because apparently, like, they knew I was talking to Vault because I mentioned it, and he just wanted to ask me what was going on, and I think that was it.
He wanted to specifically talk to you through Endless Online. Like, you guys couldn't talk through Discord.
Well, I'm banned on the main Discord, because the people that own that aren't really associated with Clone or with EO. Like, Sausage doesn't own that Discord.
How many fakes did you get banned from?
Well, I'm getting banned on some things for, like, no reason, right? Like,
Yeah.
they told me I was banned on the main Discord because I mentioned EO Plus, and it wasn't in the context like, go play my server. But we were literally having a conversation about multiple servers at the time, and the other people didn't get banned, so I'm guessing the server owner doesn't like me, which is fine.
Oh.
Most of the
Okay.
time, Sausage is not even in or a part of the main clone Discord. Just
Yeah,
for
they don't
reference.
really use that. We use a different... I was just on there to try and, like, give people insight to some of the new updates that were coming, but I guess they don't care. So, whatever.
The one thing I've kind of found is, for whatever reason, a lot of the EO community is just absurdly toxic. It's probably one, truthfully, since EO official has gone down, you'd be like, well, these people should have something developed, or they should have reverse engineered the whole thing and figured it all out. Everybody is so hell-bent on doing it themselves, or they don't do it at all, or they're just they're toxic. There are good people. There certainly are good people in the community. I've met a lot of good people.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, there are just egotistical, toxic buffoons, really, that just want to take advantage of things. They destroy things, and then they complain about it.
Yeah, I've seen that throughout the years.
I
Like, the
just-
people that own the current Discord, I don't know if they just want to keep hold of the people they have on there. Like, I don't understand, like, what...
I think the big thing with Clone is just people willing and dealing, making money off of people's nostalgia and impulsive purchases. There's people on there that have tons and tons of cash logged into their PayPal accounts because they buy accounts for extremely cheap. They sell them high. They do the same thing with items. So honestly, I honestly, I appreciate what EO Serve has done and what it has allowed people to do. But for me personally, Clone, I've got my account on Clone, and I log in every now and then when other people are playing, but I have no interest for that type of community, and really just what they're doing. Because I don't know, when you prioritize the economy of the game around discontinued items that, like an Oblong armor, if I'm not mistaken, is worth like a level 100 account, and it's like insane. Like Oblong armor was something that every new player wore in EO. Like almost everybody had it at some point, and it's like we're going to reserve it simply for the purposes of the economy and not pay to win, because you're obviously not winning if you buy Oblong armor. But
Yeah, pay for status.
yeah, I don't understand it or agree
It's
with
kind
it.
of funny, because when I did play, I had the only 2 Oblong armors, and I had the only, like, rapiers, and, like, I sold all that stuff to people for, like, pennies, essentially, and made a lot of people rich. I think when I got banned, I had, like, 100 million gold, which is probably worth a lot of money.
Yeah,
But anyway, besides the point, I agree with what you're saying about, like, making things rare just for the sake of them being rare to drive the economy that way.
I've talked to a lot of people about endless online projects and servers and trying to, this game. A lot of us play it for nostalgic reasons, but the reason, at least in my opinion, why no server has been successful is because it lacks direction, it lacks leadership. You have people that are just randomly throwing things together. There are very small things that you can do to make a server be successful, and you could make so much money off of a successful project. It is ridiculous. Like, if you set up the donation model correctly, if you do the community outreach and management the way that you need to, document changes within the game. There's so many little things, in my opinion, that you could do. You could get people playing. You could. There's just so much. What's the biggest problem in endless online for a new player? It's the lack of information. Most people join the game, they have no clue what's going on. So if you could get a lot of that information, and BU has a really good wiki page. It helps people out. The commands in BU are extremely helpful when you're typing hashtag NPC whatever. It shows the stats of that NPC. It shows what map that NPC is currently on. It shows the drops, the percentages, the item, commands that they have. BU is they've done a good job in terms of the player commands, which the whole command system's kind of janky because the interface itself doesn't really allow for all the functionality that you would need for it to just appear and look good and work well without just knowing this stuff off the top of your head and having somebody help you initially. But
Sin, have you seen me on BU at all? Like on
Probably.
Like, I've played through most up like to the newest content. Like I've been like a pretty active person on that server for a long time.
I think I may have seen you around.
I think I made the first spider pet, the first grim suit, like ton of stuff.
We're kind of new to Bone Underground. We've only been
There's a
playing for
lot.
like what, 3 months, I think.
I invite you to spend a day on EO Plus just to see like the EO Plus experience, just to get to like see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just you don't have to play it. Like I'm not like just maybe come check it out, see what you like about it. Just in your own time.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
We have
For
2 new
sure.
players today, so it's nice. Got 1 left.
I don't know what I did, but yeah. I'm using the outdated client and it's telling me I am.
You
But I
can't do
downloaded the
anything.
new one and I'm not sure what happened.
I am very happy that our server made it to the official page, like for downloads. It just shows
Yeah.
it just shows
Yeah.
players.
I'm really interested in all this stuff that's been on the website.
We tried to get like EU as like a downloadable link on there, but as Enrix was saying, they have so many changes like hexed in. Like we can't figure that out, right? Like Vult and I can't spend 100 hours a week trying to figure out what they did when we don't know what they did. Sausage himself has said if like Vault's willing to work with the community, he'll tailor EOServe to do anything that Vult wants to do. And Cirrus is very level-headed and a wonderful like person. He's very excited about stuff too. So I know there's some people that aren't, but whatever.
Cirrus is, ever since I met Cirrus, he's probably been the most just genuine person that I've met from a programming / ownership, sort of role. Like most people, I don't want anything to do with them. Cirrus is somebody that listens to feedback. He talks to people. He'll tell you, like, I like that. I don't like that. We're not going to do that. Here's why we're not doing it. He's really professional. He's good at what he does, obviously. I think, the biggest thing for Cirrus is time. Like, I think if Cirrus had all the time in the world, if somehow he was a trust fund baby and could just sit at home and work on BU 24/7, the dude is extremely talented. He's a great pixel artist, great programmer. Mookie, she's a phenomenal mapper, does a great job. I think the biggest thing over there, in my opinion, is time. And I think that's, when you have these passion projects, that's kind of the biggest limiting factor is just time. and having people that can handle various aspects. So, but I think BU's going in the right direction. I do hope to see some of the stuff that I've talked with Sirius about in the near future. I think it would be really good for their project.
Yeah, I think that the I really appreciate about Sirius is how, I guess you could say, accessible he is. Even though I know that that largely is a result of Bones Underground not exactly being the largest game in the world, but there's just something special about that. You don't really get that in a lot of MMOs that you play. And I mean,
What?
he even let me like pixel like some art for him, and like that. I don't know. That's just really cool that I got that opportunity.
And you know, he gives feedback, and you say, you know, that this isn't a really big community and it's manageable, but there's servers that have 2 or 3 people on them, and good luck talking to somebody or knowing what's going on. The thing, literally, the thing I appreciate most is the transparency that Sirius has. Obviously, he can't tell you everything that's going on, because then you could sort of have an advantage over other players, but he's just very transparent in what he does. And if you can show people what you're doing, how you're progressing, you know, and this is something I actually had a conversation with, I have no clue how to say his name, but it's Cascade's brother at EOR. I was like, one of the biggest things you can do for your community is be involved, be professional, and be transparent.
Yeah.
If people know what's going on, if people are like, okay, this update's coming in this time frame, like, you know, Sirius will tell people this is short term, medium term, long term. This is what we're looking to do. And like, you know, in my line of work in real life, one of the biggest factors is communication. You have to talk to people, and you have to, you know, people will just assume that your server is dead, or that there's nothing going on, or nothing's being worked on, when in fact you are working on stuff. But if people don't know you're working on stuff, you know, they may be gone before they ever have a chance to even see it. And then you're like, well, I released this update, but this person's no longer here, and it's maybe because that person thought you weren't doing anything. So I mean, I think communication, community management, and I think one of the big things for me with EO, EO has always lacked story. I would really
Yeah.
like to see a project, you know, deep dive into, you know, here's the lore, here's kind of what's
Oh,
going
dude.
on.
You don't even know. Wait till you get to level 60. It's like 4-5 zones that have like a story and quests laid all throughout up to the level 90 area. Like you'll like it, I think, if you like story. It all fits together. It's one like 4 zones that are like a complete package, and each zone is like a different theme.
So I think that is one of the best things you can do, because, and I'll tell you why. Being a, you know, avid World of Warcraft player, Warhammer Online, Guild Wars 2, like, if you can name a successful Wildstar, Swotar, like I've Rift, like I've played them every single one. And what is the big thing right now that keeps people playing World of Warcraft? It's not that
lore.
It's not that the game is good, and at this point the lore is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But people are so invested in the characters and the stories that have been told in the past. Like, you know, there's people like Jaina Proudmoore. At this point, they've run Sylvanas into the ground. But, you know, people, Garrosh, Thrall, like all these people that if you've never played WoW, you have no clue what I'm talking about. But people are invested in those characters. They're invested in their character. You know, when you play a game like EO, like original EO, where there's really not a story, like you're like, I really like this game, I enjoy playing it, but I have no sort of emotional tie to it. I really, you know, I'm not invested. Like when you're releasing content, you know, let's say if you're going from level 90 to level 100, and you get to the end of a quest and you're like, oh gosh, what happens next? Well, you're sitting there like, okay, when's this new update coming out? Like, I need to know what happens next in the story. But when you're like, we released zone X, Y, and Z, you can kill 1, 2, and 3, and that's it. It's like, well, how's it any different than the rest? I'm just going to go kill stuff and get a piece of armor and call it a day. But when you've got something, and it could be, you know, and I've not seen any projects do this yet, but I think it would be really good, is if people had sort of, you know, separate, kind of like y'all hear my dogs, I apologize. My golden doodle is extremely vocal. But if people just wrote sort of standalone, I don't want to say like novels or like full-fledged books or anything crazy like that, but just little stories, kind of like I'm trying to think of what it was called. There used to be a game I played that was called like the stories were called something from the post from the something, but it was like a one page, maybe less than 2,500 words, that was just a story, and it sort of got you involved with what was going on, and so that you had an appreciation for what you were doing. And then, you know, people, YouTubers or whoever, they would have content to make videos about. Like, you know, look at World of Warcraft. There's so many World of Warcraft YouTubers that make videos where it's just pure speculation. What's going to happen in the next patch? Who's going to get killed? Who's going to do this? Like, it's all speculation. And so I think if you get people interested in your game in that way, you know, EO is a very, at its core, it's an old game. It's a basic game. But if you gave things, you know, rationale, and you made things relevant to people, I think they would be much more invested in seeing the next chapter of your project.
So
yeah, I agree with that.
one thing, like if you go to my Endless Online Plus YouTube channel, I don't know if you have Enrix or anybody, you can see videos I've made of like the level 90 area, the 100 area, and then like the current Dawn of the Dragons update. It's something I want to go back and do because I like doing those like teaser videos. I suggest like taking a look if you want to see some like lore stuff.
I think I have seen them before. I don't remember. I don't know if I watched them while I was playing EO Plus or if I like watched them in the past. But I was kind of waiting to get back to that area to watch them again for those purposes.
Okay.
But I do think I think story's a big one, and I think it's something that even if people asked Vult, like, you know, would you have liked to have developed the story more? And because I think there is sort of a low-lying story behind all of EO. Like, I don't think it's all completely random. I think there's things that Vult had in his mind where he wanted to tell a story, but it just, you know, it never got to that point.
I mean, and who's to say it's not gonna? I don't know what he's gonna do.
I mean, you never know.
Or do I?
Well, the recent activity has definitely given me hope too that we'll see more stuff.
Endless Online Plus main server, let's go.
I do think having Vult sort of come back, compile some of the source code and do things and make small changes, regardless of what the outcome is, it gets people motivated, it gets people excited. You know, a lot of people, myself included, like, I hate the way that everything went down in the end. I really, you know, I was sad to see the project abandoned because, I mean, I'm playing this game that at this point is so old, and there's like I just named like 15 MMOs that I've played or that I've been involved with. There's, you know, I could be playing New World or Lost Ark or this or that.
New World.
Well, New World just got a big update that made it a lot better, I believe, or it's about to.
It's okay. I play it like still daily. It's okay.
Real quick,
but they still went from 1 million people to 20,000. So
yeah.
Real quick in the comments, Batter L Better, why people still play EO? What motivates them?
I think
nostalgia.
That's my answer is nostalgia.
I think it's nostalgia, but I also think it's hope. I think everyone, regardless of what project you play, what server you play, even if you don't play at all and you just log in to look at the Discord, you are hoping one day that something pops up and you're like, oh man, like this is revolutionary. Like the day that they thought that they cracked the item limit and all that kind of stuff, which I'm not super well versed in it, you couldn't even, I had to mute the Endless Online Discord because that place was going insane.
But it's weird that it took all this time for Vult to show up for them to then do it. Like, they could have done it a long time ago. I don't know.
It just gets people
makes me
motivated.
wonder makes me wonder like what got all this going.
So what, like, well, Vult coming back was probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
People still don't believe it's him. So
See, that's what I wonder too.
I could go either way. I'm not gonna assume it's him, but I'm also not gonna assume it's not.
I think, yeah, I guess we'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into any personal things, but yeah.
So, yeah. I just know a bit of history of some other players, key players, to be more precise, and it just, yeah. I'll just remain neutral.
The one big thing that I'll say is, and I talked to Cirrus about it. Cirrus really thinks it's Volt because to make a lot of the changes that have been made, and I'm speaking as if Arglon is not here, but that the changes that were made would require the original source code. So unless somebody procured the original source code, like you can't just make these client-side changes without it. That's the only thing I know. Like I said, I'm not a programmer. I don't know a whole lot about it. But Cirrus was like, I'm 90-something% sure that it's Volt. And if Cirrus thinks it's Volt, I'm going with Cirrus's opinion.
Yeah.
But
Like some of the changes you can make with, like, let's say Sword EC program, but that's clearly not in this client, so like there's no third-party addition to anything he did. So
I will say, with all the updates that's been going on with the actual website and everything, it's been interesting.
well, I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, they went through and they tested some of the stuff to see if the domain had changed hands and whatnot, and it hadn't. I think the big thing, regardless, let's just say regardless of if it's Volt or it's not, the big thing to me is that it's got people motivated. You know, we're seeing projects, we're seeing what's kind of going on with various clients, and you know, I'm just glad to see people motivated and moving the game in what I think will hopefully be the right direction.
Yeah,
So
I'll
that's the
say,
thing.
regardless if it's actually Volt or not, as long as the Endless Online gets updated, I don't care. As
So
long
here's
as like it
here's the
actually
big
is going
question.
to become something.
Let's say hypothetically Vault, like, okay, I got all this time, I'm gonna like figure out my server again, and I'm gonna start hosting original EO. How many people would then leave all these private servers and then migrate over? I think there's a lot of people that might not, and obviously people that would.
I think it would depend a lot on how Volt, if Volt decided that was something he wanted to do. I think that would all depend on how he approached the situation, his transparency, what he sort of promised to the players. I think, okay, let's be honest. How many of the clone players are going to stay on clone? My opinion, almost zero, because nothing is happening on clone. Why will Enrix not play clone? Because it is a literal waste of my time, because I am not going anywhere. I do not need to make money off of Endless Online. I have a full-time job and make a lot more money than I could make playing Endless Online and selling stuff on PayPal. So, clone, if you want to play clone, I think, okay, play clone. If you like clone, play clone, and have almost nothing to look forward to. I mean, you've got one update in the past 74 years. I don't know, but there's nothing to look forward to. BU gets updates on a pretty regular basis, and I think that's why a lot of people are there. If people prefer BU to Endless Online, and you know, I don't know what kind of direction Vault would take with this project, whether it was a continuation of current or if it was like a complete overhaul, whatever it would be. I think that would come down more to preference. I do think that if Vault hosted true EO and there were updates and they were consistent and transparency and like, he would have to be very involved. It couldn't be him working from the shadows. I mean, I think he'd have to, you know, make people, he'd have to be pretty involved, my opinion. But I do think that everybody would leave clone if there was a continuation of Endless and based on the transparency. Just my opinion, because people know, okay, the only other person that has a custom client, you know, like Elevations has a custom client, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's out there, my opinion. Again, I'm not a programmer, don't know that much about it, but I'm just not very interested in the kind of, and I'm not bashing anything he's doing. I'm just saying it's just not really my cup of tea. Cascade, Cascade made TFG, and he made the client and stuff for EOR, which I think they run off the same thing. It's just EO assets versus TFG. Cascade's client is, really good. I think it's got problems. Cirrus told me it does have some problems, but it's got some flexibility that the other clients don't have. My biggest thing would be, I do think that the majority of people would go play an endless online project by Vult if Vult was at the forefront, transparent, and interactive. But
which is something he's never really been for the last quite a long time.
And I mean, even when he was actively developing the game, I think in the early days, obviously I wasn't there. I think he was really, really involved with everyone. But again, it comes back to, at that point you had 1,500, 2,000 players, and we've already talked about how toxic some people are. Like, I can understand just kind of separating yourself and just making your game and doing your thing. But I just think that initial surge would be very reliant on him just being present as a person, because people are going to have more confidence in him than anyone else in the community, as far as a develop, because nobody else has the source and what he's capable of doing. But also, where is he at in life? Like, a lot of people have told me that he's making, or he was like making flash games or indie games, and it's way more profitable than anything he could have ever done with Endless Online, or so he presumed. Honestly, my opinion, even like the EO Plus thing that you've kind of got going on with the donations and the little supporter cards, there's so many things. Like, you don't have to have a monthly subscription. It doesn't take that many resources to run an EO server. Like, I mean, you can host this thing on a server with DDoS protection and everything for probably less than $100 a month, maybe more if you got a bigger player load. You could make a project very profitable, especially if it was Vult. Like, I think maybe his sort of outlook on it at the time was very different, but I think Vult could have made a living hosting EO based on his direction.
We've talked about a lot of that kind of stuff and like personal things and whatever. I don't know. I don't think it was ever the goal for him, or it's not something he's even like thinking about if he rehosts it. Like, I don't want to get into anything about him, but yeah. I can assure you that he has told me he will not give up on this client project. So at least where he plans to go with this client, it's gonna happen. I don't know how long till it happens, but it's gonna happen. So
I think it's
whether
good.
that leads in the server changes, that's a whole nother bag of things he has to look into. Yeah.
I think it's good, and I think if nothing else, it's just getting people motivated, and whoever ends up, being at the forefront or riding the wave, I think they could have a lot of success in this because it's very unique. There's a lot of people that enjoy playing it, and I think with the right community management, you could get new players playing. There's all kinds of people in the EO communities that's like, new players won't want to play, new players this. Why do new players not want to play? It's because nobody has aced the new player experience. Nobody has took the time. I think the closest one might have been like Ever Endless, and I didn't even play it. I've just heard people talk about it. But there's so many things you have to do behind the scenes to make a project successful. You don't just make a game, throw some maps together, and say, here you go, here's your game. Okay, I know how to play it. Siin knows how to play it. You know how to play it. But, you've got to get new players interested and involved. And there's no reason at all. There are people out there that would be interested in these games. But you've got to get them there.
I can't remember who it was, but somebody sent me their server. It was a long time ago. and it had one of the best like tutorial experiences. Like you would log on the game, it would say like welcome to whatever server, and then it would say like click here for the tutorial, and it would literally move your character through like a couple maps just to show you the various ways to attack, how to buy something from a shop, like just the basics. And that was like super cool, and I have not seen that replicated since.
I think Cirrus has a lot of plans, and I don't know exactly how it's gonna, how it's gonna work out. But he does have plans to completely revamp the new player experience. And
He has been saying that for
a while.
6 years, 5 years, but he does have his other Java project. Like he's not. I don't know. I feel bad for him because he is kind of like he has to do so much like on his own. But like I'm not like I know some stuff about programming and coding, but I'm not like an expert. But this goes back to their like if you go into like the EO Discord for programmers or whatever, there's a lot of good people that can program, but there's not a lot of good people that can make a good game, if that makes any sense.
It's just like
Yeah.
it's
There's
like
people that can there's people that can program a game, there's people that can make all these features work, but there's not people that like there's nobody that really has that like design element or
Yeah.
like that's what I think I strive at, is like that side of everything. But like I can't code my own game, right? But when it comes to building a game, sure, like the world and whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just
Game design is definitely a different skill set
Yeah.
than programming.
I think the big thing is most of these EO projects forget there are people on the staff that can't draw, and there are people on the staff that cannot program. Like that's not their job. Their job is game design, balance, story, and everybody tries to run these projects purely with programmers and pixel artists. You've
Yeah.
got to have the right people in the right places to make a game.
But like I didn't mean it like necessarily like that, but like I'm not gonna call anybody out, but there's like some server owners that will like almost talk down to you because you don't know how to code or you don't know how to do certain things they can do. But then when you look at their game, you're like, oh, this is a pile of crap. Like this makes no sense. Like why is this here? Why is that there? Like it works, but like I don't get it.
I can use context clues to identify people you were talking about. Like trust me, I've got one at the top of my brain right now, but just for the sake of not causing issues, I'll just leave it there. But again, it relates back to arrogance and toxicity. It's why the community hasn't moved forward. There are so many talented people. If they all got in one room and worked on one project instead of working on Billy Bob's EO, this EO this, there would be a project that would have got it right by now. They would have probably fell out at some point, but everybody tries to do something. And
do you guys remember Wicked Frost?
Yep.
So he had a channel on YouTube. He did like a playthrough of EO Plus that was pretty popular, which is one of the reasons why we had like 30-40 people at the start. But I remember he said somewhere on the Discord, like his dream team was like Sausage and Cirrus coding, me doing world building, Stava doing pixel artists. Like there is a good, like, so Vult has mentioned maybe collabing with certain people in the future, and like maybe putting together this team is what EO needs. What EO doesn't need is obviously bringing people in with bias and like people that would like help out their friends with items, like, you know what I mean? That's why I don't really have a lot of items, or sorry, a lot of admins on my server. I have none, because I've seen what's happened on BU with like 20 admins. Like they'll invite their friends and warp them to certain places and they'll do certain things for them, and like I want none of that. Like EO doesn't really need moderation if it's done right.
I think the big thing with BU is BU historically was bad in terms of that. I think I wasn't there for it, but just based on the interactions I've had and some of the things I've seen, I think that the current moderation team is much, much, much better than under Cirrus's leadership compared to what it maybe was under Bone. I've heard some pretty bad stories, of him taking donations or saying, we need this much, or the server is going to shut down, and then money was maybe used for the wrong purposes.
I mean,
things
several
along those
servers
lines.
do that, but
Yeah.
You ever notice how like a server will pop up, take donations, and then close down in 3 months? Like I've had people like Ever Endless is a perfect example. Like I'm sure it was a great server, and I've had people like, "Oh, Arglan, why are you wasting your time with EO Plus? You have like 2 players on. We have like 15." Well, my server is still around, and you know what I mean? Like, my server's been out for 6 years. You're telling me, so what if a server has been out for 3 months and they have more players than me, or they have more, you know, it's just that. It goes back to that toxicity. Like, anyway.
Well, people.
I'm going to head off. I got some stuff to do, work on some stuff.
All right,
Again,
okay.
I'm sorry.
That's
I'm sorry for like taking over and ranting on your stream.
No, you're good.
If you guys ever want to talk about like the history of EO or like other things, like I know, like I'm not like an expert, but I know a lot about almost everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's nice having you on,
2003.
Arlon.
Nice talking to you.
No problem. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. You're recharging? Are you low on health?
Well, I'm letting my TP go up.
Okay. You know that you heal faster if you're sitting?
That's right.
Bro strats.
I forgot. He sounds very passionate about what he talks about.
Yeah.
Seems
Really
like a cool
interesting
guy.
discussion.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to fully engage because I was like following you around on the thing. But I definitely think, to go back to an earlier point, I will say that there was a lot of appeal in Endless Online back when like levels didn't matter as much and when like armor was almost more equal. And even if that's not what Volt intended for, was not his vision, I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that I got to see what a game looks like when players are kind of more equalized like that. Definitely there's people who want to be power players and they kind of want to, I guess, be the strongest on the server and stuff like that. As somebody who was always more in the casual arena, I always appreciate when there's like alternative ways to like play a game. Which is why I actually really appreciate the usage token systems in Bones Underground, because if I want to go around socializing, I still am technically working towards a goal just from playing the game in a way that I want to, rather than it always having to be the case of having to grind from monsters. And I think MMOs can benefit by allowing for alternative playstyles, because I feel like for a long time it's always been oriented around spending a lot of hours just grinding on monsters. And I feel like there's room for innovation, even though I understand that that's what works and that's what people like. But I'm someone who loves seeing people come up with weird, crazy, unique concepts. So that's kind of where my heart is. And Endless Online definitely showed me something that I don't see in a lot of other games. Or didn't. And in fact, it's one of the few games that is isometric that's MMO. The only other one I can think of off the top of my head is Furcadia, which Furcadia is exclusively a social MMO. There is no leveling system. In fact, it's actually geared towards creativity, and they essentially have a game development tool integrated into it, which lets you essentially make a game within the game and share it with people. And that was absolutely fascinating.
Interesting.
Yeah, and something maybe similar to that is like Little Big Planet, where people essentially got to engineer like their own levels and show that to other people. So there's definitely, I'm glad those kinds of things exist. You know, somebody thought outside of the box that allowed for something like that to exist. And Furcadia definitely was something that helped me early on to become a game developer, because it essentially had game development tools.
It's interesting. An MMO that's just game building.
Yeah. But I know that if somebody, you know, if the goal is to earn money, oftentimes people take the safe route and they'll integrate the things that they feel like is known to work. And that's completely understandable and is a valid way to go game development. But I've always prioritized like, oh, what can we do that's like crazy and unique and hasn't been done before? Because I think those things are have the potential to go so much further. Like Minecraft, I mean, it wasn't the first of its kind exactly, but it did a game differently. It's like, you know, one of the most notable indie games because it just did something unique and different than every other game that was out there. Or at least integrated elements from other games.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, you know, when you start working on a project, you just have to, you know, decide what you want it to be and how you want it to, you know, progress. Like if you want to make an MMO and you want it to have the same sort of structure as maybe WoW, where you have the typical 1 tank, 3 DPS formula for dungeons and whatnot. I think it's good to break the mold, but at the same time, if you're trying to create a game that caters to that audience, you do have to sort of retain some of those elements, because I've seen, in my experience, like MMOs that try to break away from it, like stray away too far, and then ultimately the players are like, you know, we came here for this, and this isn't really what we're looking for. And I've just seen the vicious cycle of them. You know, I named off all those MMOs, and it's mostly because the majority of them no longer exist in what I would consider a playable capacity. Like they're still online, but they're on life support, to be honest. And it's, generally speaking, it's because they were either rushed and released way too soon. You know, like we talked about New World a little bit. New World still needed 6 months to be what it could have been at launch, and once you lose that initial hype and you lose that wave that you're riding at the start, it's hard to ever get those players back.
Yeah.
Like I was extremely pumped up for that game, and I played it, but I really have no interest in going back, even though they're releasing all these very critical changes. So
yeah, thinking on it more, I think if somebody wants to make something unique, the best approach is to, like, let's take Undertale for example, where it took mechanics that already were from other games that just weren't combined in the way that it was. Like, obviously it's a JRPG, but it's a JRPG that has essentially what is that called? A bullet heck style? What is that called? I forget. Like bullet style games. There's a word for it, but I forget what it is. But I've never seen an RPG use that bullet style of for like the battle system. And what it did is it asked if certain mechanics can be integrated into other genres, and I think that allows for innovation, but also sticking to safe mechanics that we know that work. And I think that's a really good way to go about it. Oh no, it looks like rushed. No, unfortunately, I've spent a lot more time theorizing game development than actually developing, but that's the thing that draws me in the most, is just, like, there's so dang much that hasn't been done. So much to be experimented, so much to be tested, and that's, like, the most— oops, I logged into the wrong account. And my first game that I'm going to release isn't going to— I personally feel like it's not going to be, like, extremely innovative, but after I, like, kind of get that out of the way, I have so many things I want to test and just experiment with.
I think you're doubting yourself.
I guess the game that I am working on, I personally integrated things from different games that I wanted to see. So maybe it's a case that I'm too used to my own game at this point, that it's harder to be objective about it. Like, sometimes it's hard to tell if a game is fun anymore after you've tested it 1,000 times or 2,000 times, you know. And I have made a fatal flaw in not getting, like, a test audience early on. But that is something that will be changing. I'm going to be releasing a demo somewhat soon, and I know that that's a key element that I should not have. Basically, I'm someone who works behind closed doors, and even though that's worked for a long time, the thing is that you run the risk of essentially happening, what's happening with me is I don't have enough feedback to know what I need to change and adapt. Now I'm running purely on my own instincts, and that's not always the best thing.
Yeah, I think that's, kind of just talking about how we have two very different perspectives. And if I was making a game, it would be important for me to talk to someone like you to sort of, balance out my design philosophy. So.
Yeah, you and Cirrus are one of the people I'd be most interested in showing my game to, because I know there's flaws in my game.
Shrimp says.
And I want like an opinion on like fixing it and making it or improving it.
Sorry, I'm reading the chat. Shrimp says bullet hell. What?
Yeah, but there's a specific term. It's like it starts with a T, I think. What?
You're talking about like how Final Fantasy combat system and stuff in the old games? Is it similar?
Usually...
I've never played it.
No, you're talking about the combat for Undertale?
Touhou. That's usually what's referred. Okay, so Undertale, its combat system, when you're doing the in-between phases, you get shot at by a lot of bullets, right? That you have to dodge. Well,
in Undertale?
Yes.
I thought Undertale was like a side-scroller dungeon crawler game, right?
No.
What game am I thinking of?
Undertale has Sans and Papyrus, like the skeleton characters. Are you thinking of Cave Story?
Is Undertale the game where like you can either kill the monster or work with the monster?
Or spare them.
I still think I'm thinking of something else. I think I've actually got what I'm thinking of in my Steam library, but I never played it.
Well, the interesting thing is that it uses like the Touhou bullet system, which was, as far as I knew, wasn't in an RPG before, although maybe somebody could inform me if it was. But it was the first time I ever saw it used in an RPG. And it combined two familiar, combined a familiar genre with a familiar mechanic in a way that just I never saw before. And it worked so well.
I'm looking down through here trying to figure out what game. I have like 800 games in my Steam library.
Oh, wow.
I've only played about 30 of them. Because I subscribe, like I've been a subscriber to Humble Bundle since it came out.
Oh, I see.
And it's like if you're an original subscriber, you get just sort of the original package the way it was set up, and you get every single game, and it's like actually a pretty good deal, so I never cancel it.
Yeah.
But I never even play the games. So.
Yeah, I understand that. I've never been subscribed, but I did buy a couple Humble Bundles, and I have games that I do not play. But I can if I want to. Why is there health pots on the ground? Why is...
Because there can be.
Did you put these here?
Yeah.
Are you overweighted? Is that why you put them there?
Skeg also put some down. Ow.
Don't step on the boo-boo spikes.
I got a boo-boo.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ow.
Don't step on the boo-boo spikes.
Yeah, I guess I should have taken my own advice. Yeah. But yeah, Edrix, you're definitely one of those people that I would like confide in and like be interested in like getting feedback from my game from.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I definitely like see that skill set in you and think you'd be like valuable in that area.
You get feedback from Edrix is like, it gave me the poops. I don't know why, but it did. I'm not saying it's a bad game, it just gave me the poops.
It just kept me constantly perplexed and anxious.
By the time I was finished, it was a sweet release.
No. Wait, did Skeg put more potions down?
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's a potion machine.
I downloaded C client, but I don't think it's compatible with Deep Patch yet.
There's a patch that you have to download for it specifically.
So you gotta patch the patch.
Yes. Essentially.
Interesting.
I don't know if it does something to the client itself or if it like modifies things in C client, but yeah, there's a little thing you have to download. I don't remember if I got it on Sorty's website, maybe, or if I just saw it in the EO Discord and she posted a download, but I know she got everything else working.
Yeah, the main reason I started using it was so I could multi-client and use Fire and Zero at the same time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Are you tired,
Well,
Sin?
Yeah, I am gonna have to leave here pretty soon. We'll have to call it the end of the stream.
The end of the end.
Had a lot of great topics today,
watchers. Yeah.
Had a lot of great people on today. The reason why I gotta go is because we're gonna be celebrating my son's birthday today. Or it's not his birthday today, but we're doing a late celebration with family.
Oh, nice! It's gonna be your birthday pretty soon here.
Yeah, I'll be old.
Silly Sin, you're already old. No, I'm just kidding. I genuinely don't consider people in their 30s old.
It's okay. I know I'm old.
Now, the day you hit 40, I'm sorry, sir, you're just gonna have to rent to pick out your grave. It won't be much.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I want my tombstone to be a fist.
Okay, why?
And I want the fist to be like, just, you know, when you walk up, it's like I'm giving you the fist. Like, how dare you, world?
Oh, okay.
How dare you, world? This is my fist.
I will say that I think our culture kind of has a weird perspective on age and what they consider old and stuff like that. Honestly, I think it's just best never to worry about it.
Don't you know that we all die at 50?
I was told by an 83-year-old man that you're only old when you start to believe it.
I would second that, because you know what? I saw he was either in his 70s or close to 70s. He was a driver's ed teacher, you know, full head of white hair. He was energetic and acted pretty similar to I don't know, like a 20-year-old or something. His demeanor was young. He didn't particularly look decrepit either, so I really think that your perspective on yourself definitely changes how you act.
Thank you, Skeg.
If you think you're old and decrepit, you're gonna act old and decrepit.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that, so. Killing all the gold.
I appreciate you for the late birthday on that, Skeg. Thank you. Ooh, 23.
Cause you're a young spry chicken, don't you worry.
Mean. You don't got plenty of time. What?
Well, that is the truth. Heck, I still don't feel old, to be quite honest. And I didn't really care about it, but everyone makes a big deal out of turning 30, but it's like... It was a lot stranger to turn 30 than it was to turn 31. I'm like, wow, it wasn't that big of a deal. People just kind of...
Oh god, my phone. People messaging me.
I thought your tone was like endless online or something.
There it is.
Yeah. What was that other notification? Are you betraying us?
That was Facebook.
You have an iPhone?
No.
Okay. I was like wondering how you got that tone on an iPhone.
Oh, that's Messenger.
Definitely not buy an iPhone.
Was that what I heard? I don't want to buy an iPhone because they're expensive. I'm an Android person. I'm an Android boy.
Alright, I'm going to have to end the stream here. I gotta get ready for some stuff. But I'm glad I had everybody on today. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely like a really interesting discussion.
Yeah, I didn't talk much because everybody had a lot of interesting stuff to talk about, so it was nice to hear other people talk for a change.
Henrik's
Yeah.
only talks once a month, so. But when he talks, he don't shut up.
No, I appreciate all of you, so thank you so much, everybody, and have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time on Siin TV.